and welcome to Give and Take, the Virtues in Life. And today's topic is the third eye of the camera. And we have a wonderful guest who will introduce himself and tell us all about what he does. So welcome.
Thank you, Cecily. My name is Shaison P. Ouseph, basically from Mumbai and originally from a southern part of India, which is called the Kerala. I am a documentary filmmaker by profession. I have been into more than 35 countries around the world, making social-oriented documentary films, and won little more than 11 or 12 international recognitions. Currently teaching in one of the leading colleges here in Mumbai about filmmaking or television making. Also involved in some of the major organizations in different parts of the world, like YVCO in Africa, and some other organizations like Greenpeace and Seeds of Peace, etc.
Mm-hmm. So I called it the third eye of the camera because you have a very unique way of capturing things. I've seen several of your documentaries and your clips highlighting different organizations, and you just capture it so beautifully, the quality, the actual thing that needs to be seen so that you can capture the essence. And so how do you do that?
I always believe that, when you look at a subject, and if you have a rapport with the subject, or if you have a connection to the subject, the camera becomes an instrument to capture the feelings, to capture the emotions of the object into the camera. Thereby, you capture it and you put across. As simple as that.
Yeah, because it really takes a unique eye and to actually be able to do that. And I've seen it, and it's I've seen many different kinds of videos, and I've got to say yours is of very high quality, and as I said, it captures the true essence, like you feel like you're there. It's so well done.
Thank you, Cecily, for that kind compliment on some of the films which you have watched.
Right. Well, actually, at this time, I think we'll show a short clip of one of the videos that you have done. So we'll see that at this point, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Do you speak English?
So it appears like it's not just filmmaking, but you actually get to know the people who you're going to be filming or doing the documentary about. So you get to understand the culture, you get to understand what it is they do, and you interact with them, which is very wonderful and unique. So tell us about that.
Most of the times what I do before making the film, I go there to that particular place or the location and stay with the people around and to know the background, to know the culture, know their nature, including, sometimes it's very difficult while making the film. You will come across certain stuff which you never expected.
Right, I'm sure.
So to make sure that you know the situation where you are in, you have to be there little before making the film.
Right.
So you are there to explore and to learn and to know the subject. Thereby, the shooting comes towards the end. Shooting is more of like the final drafting of whatever you learned about the subject.
So therefore it makes it very authentic that if you're actually there living what they're living, So now I see why you capture it so well, because you're
You're right.
with them. So you're
Yeah,
not
right.
just coming with a
Exactly.
camera, staying at a hotel somewhere and just coming
Yeah.
and filming. You're actually being there with them and participating and, be embracing and enjoying the culture. So now I see why
Yes.
you do such a great job. How long have you been doing this?
I have been doing it for the last 20 years.
Oh, a long time. Don't
Yeah.
look old enough. So tell us about some of the countries that you have visited and some, I mean, this was in regards to what they were, their lifestyle, what they're living, but what are
Mhm.
some other videos, films that you have done in different countries?
Yeah, some of the heart-touching videos for me is one I did, of course, in my country back here in India. It's about the child prostitution. You know,
Yes.
even though we Indians say that there is no child prostitution in India, I proved with my videos that child prostitution still exists in India.
Mm-hmm.
And another more close to me is a documentary is about the earthquakes in Nepal.
Oh, right, Nepal, yes.
Yeah, I remember I was in Sweden those days when the earthquake has taken place, but within a day or two, I rushed back to Nepal
Mm-hmm.
and started shooting the aftermath or after effects of the earthquake and
Mm-hmm.
shown to the world. And we could generate a very good amount of resources, amount of money to rebuild many houses there in Nepal.
Okay. So it's like a
So that,
humanitarian thing that you do also. So not just a filmmaker, you do humanitarian work and funding, trying to get funding resources.
I always believe that a true filmmaking, is always close to the humanitarian work.
Mm.
Of course, people may uh, have a different opinion about filmmaking, but for me, filmmaking means make something visually pleasing to the people where they can benefit. I mean, the people can benefit out of it rather
Sure.
than just watching it and forgetting it. You know.
Very good, yes. So tell us about some of the awards that you have received recently. Tell us a little bit about that.
The recent one was that being appointed as the peacemaker or Gandhi peace representative for the entire Europe by Nepal Gandhi Peace Association.
When did you get that?
That's almost 6 months back.
Oh, okay.
You're right.
Very good. So, and there were some other things that awards that you have received for your work.
Yeah, it's all started with United Nations Award in 2008. And then after that, um, uh, ILO, International Labor Organizations Award. And your own country, United States of America,
I have a country.
United States of America twice awarded me for my work. And um, after that, it's gained the Belgium WSM Award. So it's an international uh, documentary filmmakers awards from United States of America. So there are series of recognitions from the world.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring in some images of your local awards that you receive, because I think that's important too. So you're not just doing
Yeah.
things internationally, you're also doing
Yeah.
things locally. So there's a
Yeah.
beautiful award here with your picture on it, beautifully done. Looks
Yeah.
like it's carved in wood. So what was that award for?
This is spreading the message of Gandhi everywhere wherever I go. So the local people, the local regional party, they just thought that they should give me an award for spreading the message of Gandhi. So it's been given to me last month in my native place.
Right, I'm seeing the other picture as they're giving you the award. So what group was that? That was just was it some kind of religious group or spiritual group that gave it?
It's a spiritual religious group by the Catholic people in again from my native place. You
Okay.
know, they are also well aware of the kind of works that I do around the world, but they always complain about, I'm not doing much for the local people or like local community. So
Right.
I say to them that there are so many people can do there, but I am called for maybe internationally. I am called for maybe for other countries more than what my country requires.
How often do you travel a year?
Very often, every once in a month, I am out of India to make films. Yeah,
Okay. In fact, you've done some of the previous guests that I've had on the show. Tracy Hansen. You
yeah,
did a nice, beautifully well done
yeah,
sort of promo, small documentary
yeah,
video, which was very, very well done. And then also it was Patrick in Uganda.
yeah.
I believe
Right.
you may have done that as well. So
Yeah,
you did different things that I've seen myself that I've seen that have been very good and of high quality, as I said before. And the other thing I want to see, there's one of you locally as well. It looks like you're speaking to young girls in a school or something. So we'll look at those images now. Okay, yes, a young girl. It looks like she may have given you something. And then you've got a large assembly of, because I've seen something recently where you've been talking about sex trafficking or
you
different
know,
things like that.
um, yeah, you're right, Cicely. There are many institutions and many places they invite me as a guest speaker to share my experience as a filmmaker, to share my knowledge. I mean to say that to share. Basically, it's a sharing of my experiences to the younger generation,
Right.
and most of the times, they are thrilled to hear because knowing the people in Uganda, in India, is a kind of different stories for them. So
Sure.
they ask me more stories about the Ugandan children. How do they live? How do the people cope up with their life? And something like that. So wherever I go, I share the stories of various other countries' people. My experiences with them. And let me also talk about a little bit the matrix of a learner,
Okay.
in which I am one of the board members in back in the United States. I mean, um, the head of the Matrix of Learner organization is called Tracy Hansen, and we have been working together for the last 3 years
Okay.
to bring her philosophy of education into the level where anyone can learn by themselves. Cicely, you are well aware that in today, education means is a huge, huge business.
Yeah.
Business means if you can only enter into the business when you have the enough money or resources with you. So look at the people, look at the students, look at the kids in the poorest countries, like examples like Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda, Ghana, or other countries. Many other the third world countries like Nepal, Bhutan or Sri Lanka. You take any of those countries. All these countries have the poor kids. They don't have the access to the quality education today. They are literally going back.
Right.
The other day, a woman from Uganda called me and said, Shaison, is there any way where you can help my school to stand for a couple of years more? Because there are 250 students and we don't get any money from the government. No NGO, non-governmental organization is coming to our place because ours is the remotest place where we don't have any access to any kind of help. As a result, we are on the edge of closing down the school. So this is one of the incidents, one of the requests that I'm getting from this kind of places. I
Sure.
think it's a high time that we need to change the face of the education from investing money and getting the education rather than then go back and have the alternative ways of learning or alternative ways of getting the knowledge from the right source. And that's what the matrix of a learner philosophy is doing. And that's why I believe in that and I support, and I am being one of the board members for it. I know that you are also part of now, so
Right,
you will
right.
be happy with that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So, Shaison, what I would say to you is, in listening to what you're saying in regards to education, I think through examples like Matrix of a Learner, there are many different programs, but I think it needs to be more simplified. And I think
You're
this is
right.
where you get the lopsidedness,
You're
where
right.
some are getting very high salaries. Listen, I'm not here putting anyone down or saying they shouldn't get it, but I think we should really look at that. In some parts of the world, they're getting very high salaries. In other parts of the world, they're getting nothing. And so I
Exactly.
think the resources are not put in the place where it should be. And if you simplify it by using different techniques, educational techniques that work, by simplifying it and seeing everybody as a learner and a teacher and a facilitator, then you wouldn't get phone calls like, Shaison, can you help us? We need money to continue the school for another year. That would not happen. But things have become very like this, right? Upside
I,
down.
com- I completely agree with you, Cecily.
Right.
Complete.
And so I think it just needs to be simplified, reevaluated. I think it's gone too way beyond what education really was. And just going back, because there's certain parts of the world that don't have resources like other countries, and they're at number one in education. Very
You're
simple,
right.
basic teaching. So I think that's the thing that needs to be looked at. But that's just you and I speaking right now, Shaison, but you never
Yeah.
know. That might
Yeah.
be
Thank.
heard. And I think that's where the level playing field will begin to happen. And you won't
You're
get
right.
those phone calls.
That's true. That's true, Cecily.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Shaison, anything else? Like, what would you say to somebody who wanted to get into filmmaking? What would you say to any young person or anyone that would like to do? Because it's very unique in where you're doing humanitarian work.
I'm teaching filmmaking here in Mumbai, one of the colleges called St. Xavier's College. And to my students, I always say that you need to have a passion for filmmaking. The moment you have the passion, everything comes closer to you. And if you take it as a filmmaking as a job, if you take it as a work, if you take it as your livelihood, then the filmmaking goes away from you.
Okay, I like that.
If you want to make quality films, you have to merge with the camera. You have to merge with your subject. You have to merge what you are doing. Then you have a quality product. Then people will start to say, just like what you said to me, Shaison, I when I see your films, I feel that I am there.
Yes.
It's so crystal clear. It's like, the people have to see through me the subject.
Right.
So when they want to see through me, I have to be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I am the link between the subject and the people,
Right.
just like a camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be very crystal clear about what I am projecting, how I am projecting, and what is the impact of that projection can
Mm-hmm.
create in the viewer's mind. Thereby, how can I achieve my goal?
Right. Mm-hmm. So, Shaison, I want you to talk about how one would be able to reach you in regards to your work. If they can say, wow, this is something I would be interested in, I'd love to have Shaison do something for us, how would they be able to reach you?
No, I think if you just type my name, Shaison, Shaison,
Mm-hmm.
um, you can get it on my Gmail or a phone number, anything
Mm-hmm.
from Google. That's
Right.
one way of getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you add Dr. Shaison, you will get more information because recently the Brampton International University in Canada has given me a honorary doctorate.
Mm.
So, so most of my stuff which is associated with my honorary doctorate. So if
Mm-hmm.
you just type my name, or if you don't get that way, then I can also send to you. And my email address is shaisonp@gmail.com. That
Okay.
is shaisonp@gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you, Shaison, for that. And you're on
You know,
social media networks and they
very
can find
much.
you there. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Mumbai. So if I'd known you last year, I would have seen you in Mumbai. I
I
was in
didn't know
Mumbai
that
last
you
year.
were in
Yes,
Mumbai.
I was in Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, and Mumbai. I was there for almost a month. I was in India.
Hmm.
So next time I come, I'll see you. Or I may
Yeah,
see
yeah.
you first because you're supposed to be coming this way soon, right? In
Yeah,
January?
yeah, very much. In
Yes,
January, I will be
yes.
there.
Right. So
Yeah.
you're going to something at the United Nations, correct?
No, United Nations as well as I'm also working on a film on a peace concept,
Mm.
meaning the we are doing a musical
Oh,
documentary
okay.
collecting or connecting all the peace aspects from various religions and putting
Mm.
together in the form of a musical album.
Oh, how
So
beautiful.
yeah,
Where are you
that
doing that?
we have already started shooting in California, Los Angeles,
Uh-huh.
a few months back, and now the editing part or the final part will be taking place in the month of January in California itself.
In
So
California. Uh-huh.
so the film should be ready by the end of February.
Oh, okay. All right,
Yeah,
great. So I get to meet up with you and see what you're doing in person.
yeah.
Fantastic. So you talked about religions. Now in India, they have many different kinds of religions there. And so what do you practice, Shaison?
I'm basically a Catholic
Okay.
Christian. Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
are just 2%, maybe you can call it the minority of the minority here in India.
Right.
Yeah, so we are just 2% of Catholics here, 2.3% of Catholics in
Mm-hmm.
India. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
that
it's
reminds me of a future film that I'm working on
mm-hmm.
about a Catholic nun who has murdered by the upper caste people in
Mm.
India for
Mm.
educating the poor and the oppressed
Mm-hmm.
in India.
Okay.
This happened almost 25 years back in India, and now the guy who killed the nun is doing the same work of the nun.
Well, that's a nice thing to hear. So it shows that people can be reformed, right?
Yeah, very much.
It's possible when they can see what it is that they've done, they can be reformed. And
That's
so let
true.
that be a lesson. So there's no need in judging and trying to put somebody down or dismantle them in any way. what it is to try and work with them to
You're
see
right.
how they can be reformed, because it's possible that they can be reformed.
Yeah, very much.
So that's a good story. Anything else you got coming up, Shaison?
I think that's good enough.
It's good.
Because we did talk about, we made a summary of what I'm doing.
Ah.
Anything else, if you wish to ask, I will be
Um,
happy to answer.
right.
Yeah.
So we're coming up to the last part of the interview. So I just want you to just talk a little bit about your journey thus far and what you see for yourself in the future in regards to what you do.
Yeah, right. For me, always I consider family as the base. So, of course, last 20 years or 15 years, literally moving around the world, I don't get much time to interact with my own family. So that becomes a kind of thing asking me, why don't you stay back at home? But my policy or my thinking is that if I stay back at home, I will not be able to do all these things what I'm doing outside the world or inside the world. So here comes my policy that you have to get up and get ready and go for it. Nothing comes to you. You have to go. Things are there around. In Matrix, we would call it there are doors around you. You have to connect. How do you connect? To connect, you have to get up and go. So I tell my students that walk, when you can walk, you need to run. And when you can run, you have to fly.
So you go from walking to running and running to flying.
Fly.
Very good.
And if you do the other way, like when you can fly, and if you start happy with your running, then you minimize what you have or what you can. And again, when you can run or when you can walk and you just minimize sitting, then nothing happens in your life.
Right, exactly. Yep, great. Okay, Shaison, so we're at the end. And so I will say namaste.
Namaste, Cecily. Thank you so much for your valuable time, and I hope I did give you some of the information that's needed for you.
It was very good. I appreciate it, Shaison, and I know the viewers will too. So I'm just going to say a wonderful thank you to my viewers, and we'll talk after. Okay? So thank you.
Will do. Thank you. Bye.
So the wonderful viewers, your level of consciousness is the gateway to the future. Thank you.